LeBron's empire is bigger than basketball, and the NBA knows it. 41 years old. Sciatica, a contract worth $52.6 million, a yacht in Saint-Tropez, and a three-word answer that ended a 10-year dream in under 2 seconds. This is not a story about whether LeBron James can still play basketball. He averaged 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, and shot 51% from the field this season at 41 years old. Playing part is not the question. The question is what happens when the most powerful player in NBA history starts making moves that have nothing to do with what happens between the lines. Because right now in 2026, LeBron James is not just a basketball player. He's a business operation, a media company, a political signal, and possibly the most important person in a conversation that will reshape professional basketball globally. And the people running the NBA know it. If you've been following this story and want to see how deep it actually goes, you're on Hoop Action TV. We're closing in on 1,500 subscribers, and every single one of you who hits subscribe, drops a like, and shares this video is helping us build something real. Now let's get into it. In June 2025, Rich Paul, LeBron's agent and the founder of Clutch Sports, made a decision. He pulled the trigger on LeBron's $52.6 million player option for the 2025-26 season. On the surface, straightforward, elite player, elite salary, one more year. But underneath that decision was something more deliberate than it appeared. LeBron was entering his 23rd NBA season. His body had already been through more mileage than almost any player in league history. The sciatica that would eventually delay his season opener was already a known concern inside the Lakers organization. And yet Rich Paul locked in the option not because LeBron needed the money, but because the option year kept every door open. One more year of leverage, one more year of relevance, one more year of being in the room. On the court, season 23 looked like this: 20.9 points per game, 7.2 assists per game, 51% field goal shooting. Those are not the numbers of a player in decline, but the role had shifted: fewer ball screens, more off-ball movement. Load management was no longer a controversy, it was a scheduled reality. The Los Angeles Lakers finished 53-29, good for fourth in the Western Conference. They were a real team, but make no mistake, this Lakers team was built around Luka Doncic. LeBron had accepted a different position in the hierarchy, and he played it efficiently. But here is the sentence that changes everything. The contract expires in summer 2026. Player option exercise, season played, and then open market, free agency, every team with cap space and a pitch deck, and that single expiration date is the engine behind every story that follows. Season 23 did not go quietly. It had turbulence, it had vintage flashes, it had moments that felt like the end and moments that made you forget the end was coming. Start with the sciatica delay. LeBron opened the season on the bench, not resting, not load managing by choice, but physically sidelined. For a player who had built an identity around availability, who had redefined durability standards at his position, sitting out due to a back condition was the first real public signal that the mileage was accumulating in ways that couldn't be managed away. Then came the streak. 1,297 consecutive games with at least 10 points scored. That number represents a level of consistency that exists in a category by itself in NBA history. It ended on an 8-point night, not with a dramatic injury or a headline moment, just a quiet box score that told you the streak was over. The basketball world noticed. LeBron did not make a statement about it. The All-Star snub was louder. LeBron finished 9th in Western Conference fan voting, the first time in over 20 years that he was not selected as a starter. Draymond Green publicly called for Commissioner Adam Silver to intervene, essentially arguing that LeBron's historical standing warranted an exception to the voting process. Silver did not intervene. LeBron was not a starter. There was a referee controversy involving Dylan Brooks, a sequence of contact that, by the standards applied throughout the league that season, should have resulted in an ejection. The league office stayed silent. LeBron's team filed the appropriate responses. The silence from the office was its own kind of answer. And then there was the moment on the Mind the Game podcast, LeBron's own production, where he floated the idea of adopting FIBA rules in the NBA, 40-minute games, different goaltending standards. He framed it as basketball analysis. But the timing, coming in the middle of a season where his own durability was being questioned, and where a competing league was quietly developing in the background, made a lot of people inside the NBA take note of the conversation differently than it was presented. But the season also had its vintage chapters. The Cleveland return, a pre-game tribute video played inside Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, LeBron visibly emotional in the tunnel before tip-off. He described every remaining matchup in Cleveland as something to cherish. That word choice mattered. The Miami triple-double, 19 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists. Not a manufactured stat-padding performance, a genuine vintage LeBron showing up in a road game that required it. The player was still there. The player is still there. So who is LeBron James in 2026? A fading star, smarter one, or a man already thinking 3 moves ahead of everyone in the room? Summer 2025, Saint-Tropez, France. A photograph appears. LeBron James, Maverick Carter, his business partner since they were teenagers in Akron, Ohio. Misha Raznatovic, the Serbian super agent who represents Nikola Jokic and commands relationships across the entirety of European professional basketball's elite tier. On a boat, in the south of France. This is the story that the NBA has been paying very close attention to. Project B is a new professional basketball league. Co-founded by executives with backgrounds at Facebook, Google, and co-founded alongside Jeff Skoll, the first president of eBay and co-founder of Skype. The league operates on a Formula One-style touring model, no home cities, no club loyalties. The league travels. It lands in world-class markets, plays, and moves. Free streaming on YouTube. Player equity stakes, meaning players don't just earn salaries, they own a portion of the operation they are building. And critically, players do not play for clubs. They play for the league itself. Tokyo and Valencia are already announced as destination markets. The women's season launches in November 2026. The men's league follows directly behind it. Now understand Maverick Carter's role in this picture. Carter is the CEO of the Spring Hill Company, LeBron's production and branding operation. He has been LeBron's closest business partner since before either of them had a business to speak of. He consulted on Project B's development in early 2025. He stepped away from that role in the fall, and then in March 2026 he rejoined as an advisor and board director specifically focused on men's player recruitment. The official line from Carter's representatives is clear: friend and advisor, no formal executive role. That framing is technically accurate. It is also incomplete. Maverick Carter does not move his professional focus toward a competing basketball league without LeBron James's empire watching every step of that move. Misha Raznatovic spoke directly about what happened on that yacht. He described Project B as a revolution, not an evolution of existing models, a revolution. Players don't play for clubs, they play for the league. He confirmed that Maverick reached out and told him directly, meet us for lunch on a boat. LeBron will be there. Raznatovic called the model completely different from everything we've seen until now. That is the agent of the reigning NBA MVP describing a competing league as a revolution, while sitting on a boat with the player many consider the greatest of his generation. Now listen to how Adam Silver responded when this came up at the Front Office Sports Tuned-In Summit. He was measured. He was careful. He chose every word deliberately. He said that to the extent Project B is looking to do something competitive, he had stayed away from it and then added, competition is good, it keeps everyone on our toes. Parse that sentence. The most powerful commissioner in American professional sports, the man who oversees a league worth hundreds of billions of dollars in media rights, franchise valuations, and global partnerships, felt the need to say publicly competition is good. That is not the statement of a relaxed man. That is the statement of a man who has looked at the photograph from St. Tropez, understands what Maverick Carter's board directorship means, and is watching his perimeter very carefully. 2016, The Open Run podcast, LeBron James says clearly, my dream is to own a team. 2019, All-Star Media Day, LeBron ain't no maybe about it. He made eye contact with reporters and said it like it was already decided. Adam Silver heard it from across the room. Everyone did. 2021, LeBron James and Maverick Carter become formal partners in Fenway Sports Group, the ownership conglomerate that controls the Boston Red Sox, Liverpool FC, and a portfolio of sports assets that stretches across 3 continents. They became the first black partners in FSG's history. This was not a symbolic gesture. This was the financial infrastructure being built for something larger. October 2022, Las Vegas, NBA preseason. LeBron, directly to the television cameras after a preseason game, says, I want the team here, Adam, thank you. He pointed at Silver. Silver, in response, called Las Vegas great for the ecosystem. The pieces were moving, then the floor dropped. NBA expansion fees, which had been projected and discussed in the range of $2 to $3 billion per franchise, were recalibrated. The actual number landed at $7 to $10 billion per team. Fenway Sports Group looked at that figure, modeled the return timeline against its existing portfolio commitments, and made a business decision. They walked away from Las Vegas expansion. And without FSG as the financial engine, a source close to LeBron told The Athletic directly, with FSG stepping away, it is less likely LeBron will pursue a team at all. March 19, 2026, after a Lakers win over the Houston Rockets, Dan Woik of The Athletic is in the hallway. He has covered LeBron for years. He asked the question that 10 years of public statements and strategic positioning had been building toward. Is ownership still something you're interested in? LeBron James looked at him and said 3 words, no, not at all. 10 years, multiple public declarations. A formal partnership with one of the most powerful sports ownership groups in the world. The most famous basketball player alive walking across a Las Vegas arena and pointing at the commissioner on camera. 3 words. The reactions split immediately into 2 camps. Camp 1 argues this is tactical, a smoke screen. The minority ownership pathway is still structurally available, and LeBron has never been a player who showed his hand before the move was made. His no is read as a negotiating position, keep the league off balance, keep optionality open, preserve leverage. Camp 2 argues it is pure pragmatism. LeBron James has a reported net worth of approximately $1.4 billion. That is a significant number by any standard outside of sports franchise valuations. But an $8 to $10 billion bid for an expansion team cannot be fronted at that net worth level without a primary financial partner. FSG was that partner. FSG walked. The math changed. Inside the NBA's front office, the no, not at all, was processed with something approaching relief. LeBron ownership stake in an NBA franchise would have created a power dynamic with no historical precedent. A man who had shaped league policy, public narrative, and competitive balance for 2 decades. suddenly sitting in the owner's box with a vote on collective bargaining, revenue sharing, and expansion decisions. Clean competitive bidding for the Las Vegas franchise is considerably simpler without that variable in the room. The king wanted a throne in Vegas. The price tag said no. The retirement question nobody can answer here is what LeBron James actually said about retirement across season 23. The end is sooner than later. A couple more years is possible. When I know, you guys will know. 3 different answers, 3 different timeframes, all of them technically true, none of them a commitment. People inside NBA circles who have actual proximity to the situation, not analysts, not reporters working from press row, lean toward one consensus. No early exit is expected. The most likely scenario, based on conversations reported by outlets covering the Lakers closely, is that LeBron plays through at least the 2026-27 season. A farewell tour, if it comes, is considered more likely than a sudden summer retirement announcement. The factors are real and specific. The sciatica is not minor, it delayed his season, and it is a structural issue, not a one-time injury. But LeBron himself has consistently stated he is fully engaged mentally. He has not described any detachment from competition, any diminishing investment in winning, any of the psychological signals that typically precede a retirement decision in high-performing athletes. The family variable has been addressed directly. LeBron ruled out waiting for Bryce James, his son, currently developing in professional circles, as a factor in his timeline. He did not say he would play alongside Bryce. He removed it from the equation and moved on. The Cleveland tribute during season 23 had the texture of a soft goodbye. The pregame video, the visible emotion in the tunnel, the language of cherishing matchups, but it wasn't a goodbye. It was something more careful than that, an acknowledgement that the number of remaining visits to certain places is finite, without committing to when the last one will come. Contract expiration, summer 2026, full open market. Bird rights give the Lakers the ability to offer more money than any other team, a maximum contract extension that no competing team can match dollar for dollar. But a max deal for a 42-year-old LeBron James financially constrains a roster being built around Luka Doncic in ways the front office has to calculate carefully. Alternative destinations are being floated in the basketball media. A Cavaliers reunion, return to Cleveland, closed the circle where it began. A Warriors partnership with Stephen Curry, chasing one more ring in the final chapter of 2 parallel careers that defined an era. The Knicks, whose market size and current roster construction have made them a destination team in ways they haven't been in decades, were a mid-level exception with a legitimate contender, a role-player contract on a championship-caliber team, prioritizing title over salary in the final run. None of these have moved beyond speculation. LeBron has not signaled anything. He has not made a move by accident in 23 years of professional basketball, and his silence on the contract question is as deliberate as every other public statement he has ever made. Silver's empire versus LeBron's empire. Pull back from the individual storylines and look at the structural picture. The NBA is building toward a European expansion with a target launch window of 2027-28. Commissioner Silver has already held organizational meetings with Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, and PSG, 3 of the most commercially powerful sports brands on earth. Games are being penciled into calendars in Manchester, Paris, and Berlin. European players currently represent 15% of NBA rosters, and that percentage is climbing every season. Silver's stated objective for NBA Europe is balanced competition. He has studied the economic structure of European football, specifically how resources concentrate at the top clubs and create a model where a small number of teams win almost everything, and he has explicitly said that is not the model he wants to replicate. The NBA's structural competitive balance mechanisms, the draft, the salary cap, revenue sharing, are features Silver intends to carry into European expansion, not abandon. But while Silver is building NBA Europe through the official channels, with press releases and partnership announcements and formal meetings with elite football clubs, Maverick Carter is building something on the side. A touring circuit, free YouTube streaming, player equity, Tokyo and Valencia already locked, a women's season launching in November 2026 while the men's division positions behind it. Both operations want European expansion. Both operations want global reach. Both operations want the best players on the planet to be central to their product. Project B does not need NBA superstars to be credible. It needs EuroLeague talent, NBA-adjacent players, and a single marquee name attached to its development conversation to generate the media oxygen that sustains a new league through its first operational years. Misha Raznatovic represents a significant portion of EuroLeague's elite roster. He called the model a revolution. He was on the boat. This is the question Adam Silver cannot answer cleanly, and it is the question that makes his "competition is good" statement ring with a specific kind of tension. When LeBron James walks away from the hardwood, whose empire does he actually join? The NBA needs LeBron to remain central to every major conversation about professional basketball. His presence validates broadcasts, drives subscription numbers, fills arenas in road markets, and generates the kind of cultural gravity that no marketing campaign can manufacture. Silver knows this. Silver has always known this. And for 23 years, LeBron has operated inside the NBA's structure while simultaneously pushing at its edges: player empowerment, media ownership, public advocacy, roster movement. For the first time, with the ownership door closed and Project B in active development with Maverick Carter on the board, there is a credible path for LeBron to build leverage outside the NBA's structure in a way that is not dependent on Silver's approval, the league's expansion committee, or a franchise valuation he cannot afford. Silver needs LeBron in the conversation. LeBron knows it. Here is where everything lands right now. A $52.6 million contract expires in the summer of 2026, leaving LeBron James as a free agent on an open market for the first time in years. Project B is in active development with Maverick Carter on the board, Misha Raznatovic calling it a revolution, and a women's season 6 months from launching. The Las Vegas ownership dream is over, 3 words, 10 years, finished. And the retirement window is open but undefined, with LeBron providing exactly enough information to sustain every possible narrative simultaneously. LeBron James has spent 23 seasons building leverage inside the NBA. He used it to move markets, change franchise trajectories, shape player empowerment structures, and accumulate a business portfolio that operates entirely independently of his playing salary. He became the most commercially significant athlete in American sports history not by waiting for opportunities, but by constructing the conditions in which opportunities had no choice but to arrive. Now, for the first time, he has enough structural positioning to build something outside the NBA, without needing the league's permission, without needing a franchise valuation he cannot match, without needing Adam Silver to prove the next move. He has not confirmed anything. He has not signed anything. He is not retired, but every single move he makes on the court and off it is being watched by the most powerful office in American sports. And LeBron James has never made a move by accident. The question was never when LeBron retires. The question is what he becomes when he does. That is the full picture as it stands in April 2026. If you're watching LeBron's next moves the same way we are, drop your prediction below: Lakers, Warriors, Cavs, or Project B. We want to know where you think this goes. And while you're here, this is Hoop Action TV, and if you're not subscribed yet, this is exactly the kind of breakdown we build every week. We are right at 1,500 subscribers. Hit subscribe, leave a like, and share this with someone who follows the NBA seriously. The comment section is open. Where does LeBron land, and what does the Project B situation look like in 12 months? Write it below. We read everything.